Greetings, Earthlings! My name is Zero Jake and welcome back to Space Engineers. We've been mining quite a lot of stuff. We have, in the Horde, fixed our energy problems. We now have 4.4 thousand uranium ingots, which is pretty good. We've also got a bunch of other resources. We're good on that front. Now, since we do have the opportunity, we're now going to finish building the rover. Building rover mark whatever number this is right now, and we've done the forward engine section, which allows us to brake and go up and down and left and right a bit, but now I want rear engines so that I can actually move this thing with some purpose instead of crawling around at the speed of a snail. So what I have in mind is the fact that these aren't welded, which either means these are out of range of the nano factory, or the nano factory just turned off. No, not Rover. Horde, yes. Yeah, nano factory's on. Interesting. Yeah, we have plenty of steel, so I don't know what the problem is. Maybe we're a bit too far away, in which case I'm probably going to need to move forward so that I can make sure that this is good. I'll probably turn off the nano factory anyway, so that we can do things. There's a business shipment over there. That's fine. Yeah, so I've installed a few new mods and removed a lot more. The three mods that I've recently added are Frontier Economy, which allows players to trade using the chat. So it's got some commands, chat commands that you can use. You can trade items instantly without having to do an honor system of making sure that someone transfers it over via connectors. It's pretty good. I have yet to set it up completely so that it would work in a proper test. So I've just told the two other people here, don't exploit it. I am an admin on there, however, so some things are going to be a bit more complicated. Next one that we've got is relative inertia dampening, which I could probably demonstrate by going to that business shipment. But you'll see it later. Basically, I can hold Shift Z, and it will make my dampening relative to the vessel that I'm next to. So if I go Shift Z, this is really not showing it off well, is it? No. Oh my god. Okay, right. We're gonna need to interrupt this. Right, let's go. Characters. No. Biggest grids. It's not this one. Not that one. Not that one. This one, I believe, is his. It seems too close, though. No, that's something else entirely. Interesting. I'll have a look at that later. This will be it. You could see Tom just floating around there. How far is he moving? Right, let's stop it. Right. Right, with that dealt with, yeah, we can see that. I know, I want to get something done. Yeah, he's near Earth. I kind of guessed, but we're not going to use that information. Oh, come on. Can I move on, will you? Right, thank you. You. It's a Stargate thing, which I kind of guessed. I'm really bad at using this. You know that's cheating if you jump in front of me, right? Hang on. It's got rocket launchers facing down, okay. It's got several of those. It's pyramid based. Right. Is it slowing down or? No, probably not. So it only has one turret. It has a control seat there. And it has a bunch of stuff in here. Okay, well, we may want to loot one of those later. If I can be bothered. But, getting back to things, yeah. We're building engines. Stop getting distracted, Jake. Yeah, so first of all, make sure I'm not in creative mode. Yeah. I might have still been in creative mode when I went to help out Tom. Now that business shipment is getting a bit close. If we had a ship that could actually do combat, then we'd go and take it. But obviously, we no longer have a combat ship since we tried to attack Argentavis, and well, both of the combat ships we were using died pretty quickly. You can blame Adam for that one. He will say you can blame me, and the cycle continues. Right. So we've currently got 4 segments long, noting that I can change these segments into whatever I want. But we need some form of thing that makes it look nice. So I'm probably going to copy a majority of the section that we've got on the front end of the ship. If you can see over there, we're going to have this here so that we can have it go out. I now want to disable the nano factory. Right, so if we do an exact copy of this, it may not look as good. However, if we copy the main shape of it, right, the shape before it gets into the bridge section, then we can do something with that. So, if we copy this triangle section here, or this kind of tetrahedron shape thing, okay, so how far did it go? So from here, started here, yeah, and then went 1 set, 2 set, 3 set. Okay, we can do that. Right. Okay, let's get you. Let's flip it over. Make sure it's actually the right way. Yeah. So if we begin here, then we get your compatriot. Right, and then we just spinning things around is not helping me today. You know, usually I can't rotate things. Well, today is proving more difficult. Anyway, yes, that's 1 set. This will be 2nd set. And this will be 3rd set. Okay, so if we're that far out, we should be here. Yeah, so we have 1 set, 2 sets, 3 sets. Except for the fact that I don't think it's aligned properly, which is annoying. Hang on, I kind of need the nano factory on right now, so let's do that. How much is the Rover worth? Okay, so we've got Frontier Economy, and that works on commands. So I can go /e help, and I can list the commands. The command that I'm looking for is, I want an e help. What we're looking for is we want to buy ship. So currently I did e help buy ship, which basically says that I can see how that command works. So if I just do this, and just say buy ship, it will check the sale. Okay, so the ship value is about 2.15 million, which is quite a lot. The inventory, well, mainly the ship itself, because it's got several expensive components at the front. 1.2 million. Right. I'm going to keep Tom entertained as much as I can. Right, so we've gone here, and then we've gone here, and then we've gone here. What we want to do is not have these, and we want to have a corner. Right. So now that we've got this corner, that's kind of the shape, really. Okay. So I'm going to be back once I've duplicated the design on both sides and make sure that we've got this sorted. Okay, we are back and we have the pattern realized. So we're going to continue like this. However, we're going to extend how far this goes. Basically because we want more rear engines than front engines, since that'll be the main way of traveling around. Now, we could have a gravity drive, which is basically using gravity generators and artificial mass to move your ship around, which nearly ignores all mass, right? The gravity generators produce acceleration. They don't produce force, they produce acceleration, which means that they could provide infinite kinetic energy if your ship was infinitely as massive. But that's besides the point. We could use a gravity drive because it makes the ship very maneuverable. Well, no, not maneuverable, but can accelerate pretty quickly, and can decelerate as well. The problem being that we could build that, but then the way of controlling it is a bit weird. I could use some scripts or some mods to help out with that, but we'll look into it later. Now, what we want, if the game would stop lagging at any point, is the following. We want some blocks along here. Yeah, so if we do this, right, and then we have engine here, okay, so we have side cluster of engines, those, 4 engines, except we'll have 3 engines here. So if we, I'm gonna do, hey, server, would you mind not lagging? Okay, so if we go along like this, right, and then we have some slopes. So if we go 3 along, we could fit a large thruster in there if we wanted to, which might be more efficient in terms of resources or power. But if we do that and then we continue, so if we get these inverted corners, flip them around so that I can actually see what I'm doing. If we do that and then we do this, right, we can then have even more space. So basically we can fit a large thruster in here, and then we have more room for the rear engines, noting that we may need can't speak today, well, can't speak any day, we may want something else to be in the rear section of the ship. So yeah, now what do we want? That's a good question. So if we fit one side thruster here, and then we extend this a bit more, we can then start having the rear engines, right? So we can stop there. Yeah, so I'll be back in a second once I have made sure that this design is completed and copied over to that end. Okay, so we now have mirrored the design so that we can have a better look at what we're doing. Now, I have decided what we're going to do is we're going to have it so that we have 4 large ion thrusters per cluster, which means, well, per cluster, and there's going to be 2 clusters. Maybe we could add a 3rd cluster in the middle that would be of a different design, maybe hydrogen design if we want to. Actually, a hydrogen engine might be a good idea because that allows us to move much faster. However, first things first, what we need to do is we need to increase the amount of we need to increase the height of this thing before we add the engine clusters. So what we're going to do is we're going to get this, we're going to get our lovely corner blocks. Let's get those in the right location. Right, we're going to do this. And then we get these fellas, and and then we do the same. Okay, so instead of going outwards with these, we're going upwards, and with this upward direction, we can then get something good. So if we go 2 along, so consider that this these 2 blocks are going to be where we're going to have the engines. So what we can do is I'm going to temporarily turn off the nanofactory so I can show you what I'm thinking. Off. So imagine that this is, you know, the ceiling. And then what we do is we go get some ion thrusters. So if this, then this. Yeah. I mean, it may look a bit excessive, but we're going to try and make a ship that looks nice here. So excessive is acceptable. So if we have it like that, which will take up 8 slots, no, 6 slots away from here. We're going to need to copy the design over to there, which is basically just yeah, we can do that quickly. We can do that quickly without any cut to black or whatever. Yeah, let's just make sure this is in the right location. And I want number 3. Right, and then we can have slopes, which we need, and then we can add 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Which should equal that. And that should give us the amount of room we have left inside. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that's quite a bit of room that we can use to add a main hydrogen engine. Noting that we're not going to be using maneuvering hydrogen thrusters. We're going to be using just main burn hydrogen thrusters. Now, the problem is we may not have enough thrusters on the front in order to slow us down from an acceleration from the rear, which might become a problem, but I think I have ways to solve it, which we can add onto the top and bottom of this area. So I'm going to be back in a second, and we should have a pattern for these engine areas. Right, so I'm going to outline where they are, and we're going to have this pattern that we're building extended. Okay, so we now have all of this dealt with. So what we're going to do now is we're going to create the roof. Since we don't really have the ability to add the hydrogen thruster at the back, I'm going to keep that open for now, for later design. I might actually just close it, in fact. I might just seal it up and then open it up again when I want to add the respective stuff. Anyway, so what we want to do is we want this area to be 3 high at minimum, because currently the interior is too high, and I want that for corridors, not for the main section of the ship. So what we're going to do first, noting that we can add, that's a very good idea, very good, yes, yes, yes. We're going to add in a window here first, because then everything's sorted. So what we want to do is we want to make it so that this area is 3 high. And in order to do that, we're going to need a set of these fellas. Now currently in this section of the ship there hasn't been any additions, which is good. It means that we can just slap these on and we'll be fine. I need inertia dampening. So we'll go with the right hand side this time. I've done a bit too much to the left. And what we can do from here is going to be something complicated. So we need a corner block, right? That acts in such a way that we have a decent amount of connection here. Now we don't have anything that does that, sadly. If we go to if we just look up armor blocks, it will list all the armor blocks that we have. It'll take a second for everything to load in. But we don't have anything like that. At least I don't think we have, which is why I'm checking now. Which is a shame. A big shame, because otherwise that would have been very useful. Yeah, no, we don't have any. That's going to be slightly annoying, but we'll deal with it. So what we want to do is we need these fellas, right? And they're going to do that, right? They're going to cut that off temporarily. We're then going to have these fellas, and they're going to go here. And they're going to go along, in fact. Let's create a ceiling to actually use this on, just quickly so that I can make sure I'm doing things correctly. Okay, so if we have that like that, right? That goes off here. Game, I'd really like it if you stopped lagging. And then we flip it around there, and then we go like here, right? So we do that. It does the thing where we have this go into here, and then we start again from here. Right? Okay. So we want this here. And that should be something useful. Now, it might not look pretty, but it is the way that I've found that we can do that. And with that done, we can then just we need, yeah, so if we get rid of you, we then have a armor corner, and then we get Mr. 4, who we all know very well, and we get him to do this, right? Is that going to work? Doesn't look like it's going to work properly. No, because if we wanted that, then we'd just continue along here. Okay, right, no. Let's stick with this. We go along this way. Let's add some more ceiling in. Noting that, you know, the ceiling is going to go, well, it's going to be refined when I have the ability to do so. If we keep it like that, and then we have this guy. Instead of this, we go here. Right, so mirror this expansion, and then we had not armor block. Slope. We want this to connect, right? So if we put these guys in, and then we go here and here, we want this and this, and then that should work, right? Yeah, that could work. So with that done, all we need to do now is we need to trim off this area here, copy it, well, duplicate it onto the bottom, duplicate it onto the side, and then just add in the ceiling. I'm facing a lot of lag. Something bigger has just turned up. We might want to, you know, steal it because we can. But yeah, so I'm gonna be back in a second with that done. Okay, so that's that, I guess. We have we've got the interior. Noting that this level here is the actual floor. I've currently not filled it in because I will need to fill it in with some conveyors and all sorts of other pieces in order to get things inside here connected. Now, we're going to have some reactors in here, simply because, well, we're going to have 2 reactors in here, right? And then I would really wish if the game would stop throwing me upwards for some reason. I want to go down here. Okay, I was possibly doing weird things. So we're going to have 2 reactors down there and 2 reactors here. Now this means that if the ship is separated, then both halves can fly. Once more, in order to make sure that both halves can fly, we're also going to have a bridge up here on the top section of here. You know, because then what we could do is we could separate the ship into 2 pieces and fight using that. You know, similar to the Enterprise in Next Generation, in Next Gen. So, yeah. We're not going to furnish it today because I've got to, you know, get some more components and have a battle plan of how I want to do this. But we're going to place some hydrogen tanks in here, some oxygen generators so that we can turn ice into hydrogen, possibly a few cargo containers, depends on my mood, and we're going to have some reactors. Yeah, this place is going to be a bit big for all the stuff I want to add in, so we're going to need to think of things to add. We also need gyros in the back end and gyros in here. Basically, this is a smaller version of the engine room down on the other side of the ship, which is good. Yeah, and once I've got those internals in place, we can then finally call this thing meeting minimum requirements. Because what we're going to do is we're going to use this to jump all of the fleet to Earth. No, not to Earth, to Mars. And then what we're going to do is we're going to start building a space station. And at that point, I believe Adam will have gone his separate ways. And what we can do is we can convert each of these maglock sections into its own area. So we can change this from maglock into cargo, or maglock into hangar, or it could be changed to a weapon array, or a shield bay, or something like that. There are many things that I could add in place. Maybe have some that have just, you know, mining laser with its power supply. A lot of things to think about. But that will all be in future episodes. Until then, my name has been Zero Jake. End transmission.